the Lions just for a second, a couple questions for you. They're 4-7 right now. They still obviously have a chance at making the playoffs, but they're probably going to have to run the table the rest of the way. If they don't run the table the rest of the way and don't make the playoffs, do you see Jim Schwartz possibly getting let go after the season?
No, I think Jim Schwartz, to be honest, is the one coach. I mean, they've gone through coach after coach, GM after GM. They've gone through a mess over these years. They have to keep Schwartz. I know, look, he had the mistake yesterday, but as a young coach, you're going to struggle at times with the team. You're going to have those growing pains. I mean, if they don't keep Schwartz, I'll be very surprised. I think this was just one down year, The Lions maybe just got a little bit too excited, thinking that this was going to be a year where they could possibly have a chance at the NFC Championship or something of that nature. But I honestly think, Schwartz has to stay, and if they let go of Schwartz, I think it's going to be a rebuilding process all over again. They need to keep their core. That's what separates, a good team to a Super Bowl contending team. You got to have a solid core. I mean, New England's had it for a long time. Baltimore's had it for a long time. And if Detroit wants to be in that type of category, they've got to do the same thing as those type of elite teams. So I'm hoping they keep Schwartz. I hope they don't even bring up the discussion of firing him. I don't want to see him fired. I think he's an absolutely superb coach.
Well, I agree with you there. Detroit, the Lions have been a franchise that has really been under the last decade or so, and since Jim Schwartz took over, he had a couple of high draft picks, like I said earlier, with Stafford and Sue, and it really sparked the team and sparked the town. Detroit Lions football, we could probably say, is back, at least for the moment, but they, like you said earlier, they don't need to be regressing like they are right now. Hopefully, for Detroit's sake, they get it all figured out. Now to the middle game of yesterday. Of course, the Cowboys play every Thanksgiving. They got a huge win last week to keep their season alive in hopes of going to the playoffs, but come out at home yesterday with an absolutely lackluster performance against RG3 and the Washington Redskins. And let me tell you, if you didn't know who RG3 was then, you certainly do know who he is now.
Yeah, he ripped up that Cowboys defense, and I can't believe. I like RG3 a lot, but that Redskins offense, they struggle without the deep ball, and it seemed like. And I heard Rob Ryan afterwards say, guys, we did a good job defending the option well, but we didn't do anything about the back end of their defense. That was the key critical point in the whole entire game, in the game plan for Dallas. I was stunned that Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, didn't really pay attention or focus on that. Or maybe he did, but it showed that they couldn't execute at all on their back end. It was atrocious defense by the Cowboys, but hey, you still got to make those throws. You still have to make those plays. So, and for a rookie to go out on that type of stage once again and do it again and again and again, RG3 is proving to everyone that he's going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL in the future if he continues this style of play.
Yeah, absolutely. RG3 certainly. You got to say he's probably the front runner right now for the offensive rookie of the year this year in the NFL. The Cowboys, though, Tony Romo, so much pressure on a guy that wasn't even drafted. He went to a FCS school, and he wasn't even drafted. It's the Dallas Cowboys. You're always going to be, trying to be compared to Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach, but Tony Romo just simply isn't those guys, and really will never be those guys. Jerry Jones is always out there every other week or so, it seems, defending his team, defending Romo, defending Jason Garrett. It just gets old after a while. Here's a simple question: what is the solution for getting this Dallas Cowboys franchise back on track? Do they just need to blow the whole thing up and start from the ground up, or do they just make a move here and there and they're all of a sudden a Super Bowl contender?
Actually, I know this is. I know a lot of people don't like this, but a lot of people aren't Romo supporters. But I actually believe in Romo. I think his mistakes and his issues. He's one of those players, like somewhat to Jay Cutler, who they kind of thrive on emotion, and when they're desperate and they're down, they'll start, getting desperate and throwing interceptions and all these different type of things. And to me, it seems like this Cowboys team, first of all, their defense is just talent-wise. I don't know why. I mean, I said in the beginning of the season that this Cowboys defense is really not going to do that well, and I heard people saying, well, they have Morris Claiborne, they have, DeMarcus Ware, and they have this, and that. But look, their back end is bad. The pass rush, okay, but still, in the NFL, you can't have that bad of a secondary. You got to either have an elite pass rush to have that bad of a secondary, and they really need to upgrade their talent secondary-wise. And I feel like at the wide receiver position, they need to get one guy in free agency that could really become a deep threat to really provide a solid passing attack for Dallas. I think those are the two main things that they need to address. I think DeMarco Murray is fine, but I just don't think that Romo needs to go or anything like that. They just have tons of issues on defense. I'm surprised that a Rob Ryan coach defense is struggling this much in his second year stint as a Cowboys defensive coordinator. I'm just stunned, but they really need to fix those areas, but not blow the entire thing up. I know what you mean, though. It can get, if you're a Cowboys fan, it can get frustrating, but I don't think they need to do that.
Yeah, certainly. Great point there. We'll see. We always have, what's going to happen with Tony Romo, what's going to happen with Jason Garrett. Should Jerry Jones just step down already and close his mouth? And, of course, you got that big stadium out there in Dallas as well. So, certainly a lot of high expectations, of course, with the history of that franchise as well to live up to. But, like you said, Tony Romo has shown that he can get the job done. It's just a matter of consistency at this point. And of course, we had the evening game last night, the very ugly evening game last night between the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. I didn't expect it to be a game, and it really wasn't. 49-19, the New England Patriots went into MetLife Stadium and beat the home team, the hosting Jets. Where's Tebow? Where's Tim Tebow?
I actually think that they need to stick Tebow in because the season's already a disaster. But first, I want to just say about the Patriots and the Jets. It's really getting old when the Jets think they're better than the New England Patriots. First of all, New England didn't have to do that. Close to New England for capitalizing on the opportunities and really playing with a ton of energy and fire yesterday, but they didn't really have to create for themselves. The Patriots didn't really have to have any magnificent drives or anything like that to get a victory. But, look, the Jets, Tebow, what I don't understand is, and I've heard so many sports writers, I heard a sports writer say that Rex Ryan is playing dumb now because Tebow, quote-unquote, had 2 fractured ribs, but he was active. I don't understand that. What are the Jets thinking? I honestly, sometimes I wonder if what Rex is trying to do, if he's trying to create a media firestorm. I don't know what Rex is trying to do. First of all, I just get confused by the Jets half the time. I don't even know what they're doing half the time. It just doesn't make any sense. If you want to protect Sanchez, and you're not making the playoffs this year, put Tebow in. Let's see what happens, okay? Protect Sanchez. Let's see what Tebow has in him for these last games. Put Sanchez out so he doesn't get injured. If you really want to keep him, develop him. Get ready for the next season. Put Tebow in. Let's see what miracle he can put up. Okay, if he does terrible, okay, that's fine. If he does amazing, maybe we have a chance. That's what the Jets mentality should be. Instead, they're being way too overprotective here for Sanchez. Look, I like Sanchez as a person, but especially the high school he went to is 10 minutes away from me right now. So, yeah, I mean, I like Sanchez as a person, but let's be quite honest here. Tebow needs to be put in, and they really need to reevaluate the situation. I think Rex Ryan honestly didn't bring Tim Tebow in for football. He just brought it in for publicity, and it just shows how bad this Jets organization is, and it shows how lackluster they are, because every time they claim that they're going to win a Super Bowl, they make mistakes, they crumble, they stumble, and they find ways to lose, and they find another way to lose their entire season, and they find another way to lose in Thanksgiving on a national stage at home against their AFC East foe. So, Jets, sorry, Jets fans, but I think you either need to let go of I don't like people getting fired, but you either need to let go of that GM who hasn't gotten that many great wide receiver, talent there, or you need to let go of the big mouth Rex Ryan.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, can we fire Rex Ryan already?
Look, he's a great defensive coach, but his style gets old in my opinion, and I think he should stick as defensive coordinator. I think when things are down and, everyone's upset and there's chaos, he doesn't do a solid job with commanding his troops and finding a way to regain his team. He kind of loses his team. He kind of loses the locker room. And I think that's the one negative about Rex Ryan. He's a very emotional coach, and I like that about him. And the players like him. But when you're down and you need wins, and you get in the latter half of the season, and you got tough games up ahead, he's not really the coach that I would want at the helm. And I think either the Jets need to blow. I don't know about the Jets. I don't know if what they're gonna do. Because the Jets they haven't really shown any actions, or they haven't made any aggressive moves to show anything whatsoever that, I can predict or someone can predict out there. So I don't know where the Jets are going. It's just chaos. That's what I call it.
Yeah, it seems that we were just talking about the Cowboys. It seems like the Cowboys and Jets, and we could throw the Eagles in there now, have so much darn publicity surrounding them each and every season. Their coach is always on the hot seat, it seems. Why are these teams getting so much attention? Why do these teams get so much media? When's the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl? When's the last time the New York Jets won a Super Bowl? When's the last time the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl? Come on, I mean, why do these teams get so much attention and have so much of high hopes? I can understand the first season that the Eagles had their quote-unquote dream team and didn't make it to the playoffs. I can understand why that got attention, but why so much attention directed towards a Dallas Cowboys team that hasn't been good in forever, and a New York Jets team who did make it to back-to-back AFC championship games, but what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Jets, they're kind of just a laughing stock in general, because they're just infamous. It was so funny because people used to love them 2 years ago, saying, "Oh, Jets, oh, Rex. I love Sanchez, AFC Championship, Super Bowl Jets." And then it just becomes a mess. The Jets they're always going to get publicity. Even if they go 0-16, people are going to talk about the Jets because they're in the largest market. And then Philly, they have a lot of talent, so it's pretty surprising. People are really surprised at why they're struggling. I think that's really why they get that publicity. And then Dallas, Jerry Jones fuels it all with the Super Bowl predictions and the big stadium and all these different things. Yeah, I just think these teams really, I don't understand, because there's so many. Look, Houston, they're under the radar, okay, and they win games. They never. Gary Kubiak doesn't go out there and say, "We're going to win a Super Bowl." They're not saying that. I don't understand why, the Cowboys or the Eagles or the Jets, they go out there blatantly and say these things and say these crazy remarks and think that they're going to have a successful season, and then it goes into a complete waste of time. And they need to regather, reevaluate, and it's just